Hello again. Of course, as soon as I finished filming that video, that last one, kind of explained how the game works, of course I realized I forgot about, 5 or 7 things that probably should be worth mentioning. One is the income of this game. So this is my homemade income tracker out of a cigar box that I made. It is magnetized. But basically, the way the income is calculated, each territory you see has a number, or some don't. Ireland is worthless for some reason. Yeah, like Scotland is worth 2 IPCs. Normandy, Bordeaux is worth 2. Let's see what else. Good example. A lot of Russia is worth 1 per. Some stuff is worth nothing. Korea is worth 3. And then that all adds up, and that's how you make money, and that's how you lose money. And then for money, the original games came with paper money, but I have these nice IPC chips, poker-style chips, that are very helpful to play with. Very helpful with using your, putting what you're buying on top of them and all that jazz. Then I like to stack them on top of these coasters that I have. Yeah, so that is the kind of an idea of the income of the game. And then I didn't show I went over attack and defensive units a little bit, but here's a battle board, and I try to avoid using this just because when you swap pieces over to it, that takes up time. So I only bring them over if it's really worthwhile. But that's the attack. This is the standard units that attack at 1, standard units that attack at 2, standard that attack at 3, standard that attack at 4, and then different units have different defense values. So the strategic bomber, for example, it attacks at 4, but it is very poor at defending. Same with the submarine. There's a downgrade with that. And we also, here's the 2, here's the 3, here's the 4, and then over here, let's see, moving on, oh yeah, and bases. I didn't touch on, there are air bases, and there are naval bases. Right? Normally you get these cardboard chips when you buy the game out of box, or a standard copy of the game. You get these little cardboard chips, and one of the things I wanted to do was to completely eliminate all cardboard from the game. So I have better quality roundels you can get from historical board gaming. They're nice thick wood, and it's very easy to pick them up. Very nice. I recommend them. And then these industrial complexes, these air bases, and these naval bases, I get from this website called Shapeways. So it's all this like 3D printed stuff, and it's a little expensive, but it was a worthwhile upgrade just to get rid of all the ugly cardboard and have actual buildings, But what those do? So just to go over the value of this, so you can only build 3 units with a minor complex in that territory that has one. And if it has a major complex, you can build up to 10 units there. So up to 3, up to 10. A naval base, if you have a naval unit here, most ships only move 2 spaces. If you have a naval unit, you can move, starting in a territory adjacent to a territory that has a naval base, it can now move 3. You get a bonus movement, so you can move 3. So the same thing kind of applies with an air base. With an air base, if a plane takes off from there, it gets a bonus step of movement. At the same time, an air base also allows you to scramble up to 3 fighters into combat that's occurring in any adjacent territory. So something like that, for example. And then, let's see. Oh yeah, and real quick, the technology, the research and development. You have 2 different charts you can pick from. You pay 5 IPCs, you get to roll a die. If you get a 6, you get to roll again, and you get a technology. And here's the 2 different charts. I actually printed this out from the rule book and laminated it. Glad I did that, and I made it double-sided too. And I made 2 of them. But yeah, so here, breakthrough chart 1, go ahead and pause it if you want to read it, if you've never seen this before. 1, 2. And yeah, just keep those on the table. Just keep those on the table if I need a reference or another player needs a reference or whatever. Let's go over the chips. These chips. I went over that stuff. I forgot to mention this. So this is 1. This is a value of 1. This is a value of 3. This is a value of 5. So what that means, this French guy right here, that is 6 infantry. That red chip means 5, and the guy on top is the additional. Okay. This is 2 infantry, 2 infantry, 4 infantry. Things like that. 6, 2, 2, 4, and then that's actually 3. There's 2 gray chips under him. So that's what the red chips mean. Pretty much covered everything of that stuff. And the most important thing: how to win the game. How do you win the game? Well, the Allies. For the Allies, it's very simple. The Allies, officially, the Allies are supposed to capture all 3 Axis capitals and hold them for a complete round of play. That is very unlikely to happen, or in my opinion, very unlikely to happen. In that it is very unlikely that it'll be necessary to get to that point. Most people will call the game once the Axis start off very strong generally, and after a certain point, if the Allies are able to contain them enough, after a certain point, their resources get drained a little bit. You can kind of see like they're past their prime after a certain point. So the Axis have to keep that momentum going. And what the Axis have to do, the European Axis have to capture, 8 victory cities. Yes, 8 victory cities on this side on the European side of the map, or the Japanese have to capture 6 victory cities on this side of the map. If either of those happen, then the game wins in favor of the Axis. If they hold it for a complete round of play. What's a victory city? A victory city is either a capital or a major city that has historical significance or some strategic reason or whatever. So let's see, Tokyo, obviously it's a capital. That has victory. That's a victory city. San Francisco's a victory city. Honolulu's a victory city. And I also have these buildings from Shapeways as well, just to kind of help represent the victory cities a little bit, just to kind of add a little something more to the board. So Hong Kong's a victory city. Calcutta's a victory city. Stalingrad, Leningrad, Moscow, Egypt's a victory. Sorry, not Egypt. Cairo in Egypt is a victory city. Rome, Paris, Warsaw, Berlin, London, Washington D.C., Ottawa, Shanghai, Sydney is a victory city, and let's see. I feel like I'm blanking on one more, but yeah. There you go. So yeah, they have to somehow capture that many to win officially. However, most of the time people call it after a certain point. One of those points being if the Axis are able to completely crush Russia, then they have the mainland. Like if they don't have the victory conditions, usually it's just a matter of time, and that's how we called it. That's how we called the last game. Russia was defeated quite noticeably. So there's no point in continuing. That was an Axis victory last time. But since I'm Axis, we'll see if I can pull that off too. But yeah, I think I have everything covered this time. Convoys. So a convoy, real quick. So when someone goes to collect their money, you can take their money away from them. So if say this sub or one of these subs goes here, that disrupts this convoy. Meaning this sub gets to roll against the IPC value collected against here. So potentially this sub, more than likely, will take the 2 IPCs away from England. If England goes to collect their money and this convoy is still disrupted, and they can lose up to $2, and probably will, especially with a sub, because a sub gets to roll 2 dice, unlike everything else. Subs can submerge. Aircraft carriers and battleships take 2 hits to get destroyed. Strategic bombers, can conduct bombing raids, so they can bomb somebody's factories. Tactical bombers can bomb somebody's bases, the naval bases and the air bases. So there's three kinds of aircraft. There's fighters, there's tactical bombers, and there's strategic bombers. The other games don't have the tactical bombers, but so they're kind of in between the two. You can pair them with fighters and get a bonus. You can pair the tactical bombers with tanks and get a bonus. And they're all of them everything can be used in an effective manner. All these different kinds of pieces for different reasons and different strategies and all that. So I think I'm going in circles at this point, but yeah, I think fairly confident I covered things at this point. So all right, I'll get planning. Take it easy.